Hey everyone, and welcome to my 40-week bump date. I made it. Hey guys, and welcome back to Mahanathon and my 40-week bump date. Did you think that I would be here this week? I sure didn't, and obviously I am still pregnant. I cannot believe I'm 40 weeks. I thought for sure this little one would be born before now. It's officially May 17th today, or our little boy's due date, and I cannot believe that nothing has happened. So as you guys know, I've had all of the symptoms of labor, and yet the little guy still isn't here. So let's get started on baby's update, and then I'll tell you what has happened. So at 40 weeks, my baby is the size of a watermelon. He's about 7.5 pounds and 20 inches long. So he is fully done, and he's basically the size of a baby. Hopefully he won't get too much bigger. I'm hoping that I don't end up going to 42 weeks and having to make a 42-week bump date, but you never know. So as you guys know, at 39 weeks, I was actually provided with a stretch and sweep by my OB. Now, I know you guys wanted to know some of what happened during that procedure, and I am going to get real with you. So, if you are squeamish, or if you don't like getting really involved in some of the gross things that happen during pregnancy, I highly advise that you switch off or fast forward this video because it's about to get real. So last Thursday I visited my OB and I got my stretch and sweep. So here is the real deal when it comes to stretch and sweep procedures. They are not comfortable, and you'll actually read online, a lot of people will say, you know, you may experience some discomfort, some pressure. Those are euphemisms for what is actually going down. I actually tolerate pain pretty well, and my OB was very shocked that I didn't, scream during the procedure or cry or any of that, but it was very painful. So basically what happens is she will insert her fingers inside of you, past your cervix, and she'll actually sweep the amniotic sac away from your uterine wall. So this has to be done with quite a lot of force, and it is not comfortable. So there was a lot of pressure, a lot of pain, and in my case, a lot of bleeding. So here is where it got a little bit complicated for me, and where the drama of week 39 actually began. So after my stretch and sweep, my OB actually noticed that I was bleeding a little bit more than she was comfortable with. So usually after a stretch and sweep procedure, it's normal to have a bit of spotting, but for me, I was really bleeding a lot. It was a lot, trust me. And she was concerned. Also, my blood pressure was a little bit high. So actually, after the stretch and sweep procedure in her office, she ended up calling our local hospital's birth unit and told me and my husband, okay guys, you guys are in labor, so go and get registered at the birth center because you're gonna have a baby in the next few hours. So you can imagine how we felt. We did not expect that at all. We actually came home after that appointment, grabbed our stuff, threw it in the car, called our family members and arranged, dog sitting and all that stuff, and headed to the hospital. So we got to the hospital and they registered us right away. At this point, I was still bleeding, still cramping, I was still experiencing contractions, and they were fairly regular. So things were pointing towards I'm having the baby now, which is what you want after a stretch and sweep procedure. Not so much the bleeding though. So I got to the registration desk and they let me in right away, and they hooked me up to a fetal monitor, and they found out that the baby's heartbeat was a little bit erratic. Now, throughout my pregnancy, I've noticed that when I lie on my back or my right side, because there's an impingement on some of the veins in my body, my baby kind of goes nuts. So I have been basically staying on my left side this entire time, which is actually recommended. So I did mention this when I got into the birth center. but they were adamant that I stay in this one position because the fetal monitor kept on falling off, which was fine. So I laid back on the bed. It was kind of like in a chair position. So they were waiting for the baby to do some kicks, and they were also making sure that his heartbeat was regular. Now at this time I was still experiencing contractions, and you could see on the hospital printout that my contractions were getting progressively stronger, closer together, and that we could actually watch them happen. It was really, really interesting. But then all of a sudden they stopped completely. It was like I went from being in labor, which the OB there said, yes, you're in labor, to just nothing. It was really, really shocking. The bleeding stopped. I felt great. I actually had some ice chips and a couple of bites of ice cream while I was there. My husband ended up eating the dinner that was provided to me, which is kind of funny. And things really slowed down. And after about probably an hour and a half to 2 hours being there, they said I could go home. So I was on one hand very happy that nothing was wrong with my baby, nothing was wrong with me. But on the other hand, I was like, I just went through that procedure for nothing. But the OB there actually said that don't worry, we expect that you'll be back in the next couple of hours because there's no way you're not having a baby with these signs, right? So my husband and I decided to go and get Chinese food at this amazing buffet near our house to celebrate. We were so excited. So during dinner, my contractions definitely kept up to the point where I could barely walk around. I actually cried a couple of times in public, which was really embarrassing. So at the end of dinner, my husband and I were like, okay, this is definitely it. It just was picking up. And we had been told by both OBs that, you know, this is labor, this is gonna happen tonight. So we were so excited. So we made our way home, and then it stopped again, completely. It was insane. And we both went to bed, and that was it. So since that night, that was Thursday, I've actually been experiencing the same revving up of contractions. As you guys know, I've already lost my mucus plug, I've had my bloody show, I've had all of the other symptoms, and I keep on revving up and then slowing down, and then revving up and slowing down. Now, before they did a stretch and sweep at my OB's office, she actually noticed that I am already 90% effaced. I'm at a -2 station, and I'm 2 to 3 centimeters dilated already. So our theory is that I have been laboring at home, and that is the type of progress that I've been able to do on my own, which is great. So now we are back to the waiting game, and as you can imagine, it's been pretty intense. So today I am officially 40 weeks, and I am still experiencing contractions. I'm having them as I speak, which is why I'm a little bit out of breath at the moment. But we really don't know when this baby is coming. I know this doesn't make any sense, and I know babies don't go by a set schedule, but I really did think that my baby would be here by now. So the fact that this is May 17th and Nick's getting ready for work, and we don't have a son right now is just blowing my mind. So as you guys know, I've been experiencing hip problems and PSD problems and all of that sort of stuff, which is why we were offered a stretch and sweep at 39 weeks. So my OB actually offered another stretch and sweep for tomorrow, so that would be 40 plus 1 day, in order to try to avoid an induction, a chemical induction, which would happen on the 27th, when I think I would be around 41 or 42 weeks. So the goal of my OB has always been to try to avoid the Pitocin, try to avoid a chemical induction. So that is why we're doing the stretch and sweep again. I am not looking forward to it. I know what it's going to be like now, so I'm even more horrified. But I'm really, really hoping that the second time is a charm, and that it's going to send me into labor and I will see my little boy soon. If there is anything that this entire process has taught me, is that babies don't go by schedules, babies don't go by birth plans, and sometimes you just can plan and plan and plan, and then you end up basically running by the seat of your pants anyway and making decisions on the fly. So when it comes to birth, you have to be very flexible, and I'm sure this is a lesson in parenting as well. So at 40 weeks, both me and my husband are so anxious to meet our little boy. But at this time, I feel like, are we even having a baby? Like, is this actually gonna happen? There have been so many false starts in this pregnancy and so many revved up emotions that we're almost too afraid to get our hopes up that the next round of contractions is actually going to be real labor. So we will definitely keep you guys informed. As always, thank you for stopping by Mahanathon. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out my last bumpy, my 40-week bumpy that I've attached to the end of this video. I'm huge, and I really hope that I don't end up going to a 42-week bumpy, because I would be even bigger. So cross your fingers, say a little prayer, and hopefully the next time you see me, I will have my baby boy in my arms. See you guys.